So so this is a live free training to show you a little bit about MeetEdgar, which is a social media scheduling software tool. I'd always used Hootsuite previously. I'd used that for about 4 or 5 years. And it had changed a bit. It was useful. It's always great to be able to schedule your content and plan your content, but it wasn't as user-friendly as I'd have might liked. There are things with it, like, you know, when you, I don't know if you've used Hootsuite, but things like if you were scheduling something, you couldn't see your calendar at the same time to know whether you'd already scheduled something else, and it opened another screen. You had to go back, and it was becoming more hassle than it was worth. It was getting easier to just post organically. However, posting organically is absolutely wonderful. You should never stop posting organically. And for anybody that's not sure what that means posting live. So posting in the morning direct to any platforms like LinkedIn or Facebook or something like that. You should never stop posting organically. However, you do need to have a bank of content that's scheduled to go out, so that if you're ever poorly, or if you are ever thrown into the middle of a pandemic, or the children suddenly can't go to school, anything like that, your content still goes out. Because as we know, if we become inconsistent with our content, people start to forget about us, and we got to work twice as hard when we come back to it again. So that is where the importance of having some scheduling software and a bank of content comes in. So I'm going to show you MeetEdgar. I'm going to use my own account to show you and just do a brief show round of it, so that if you decide to invest in it, it's not overwhelming for you. You don't look at it and think, oh, can't do it. And then I'm also going to give you some tips that I share with my members. So only a little smidgen of the tips that I share with the people in my expert membership about how to create evergreen content. And I'm sure most of you know that evergreen content is content that you can schedule to go out again and again and again. So something that wouldn't be evergreen would be a blog post titled "How to Ensure Your Christmas Party Goes Well." So you wouldn't want that to be going out in April, really, would you? Because people will get a bit bored of that. Kerry Ann, are you okay to let people in? I just see somebody pop up in the waiting room. That would be brilliant. Thank you.
I'll just let them in.
So I'm going to share screen with you now. Rona, lovely of you to join us. I think I can see you twice, actually, so you may have already been here. But I will now share screen, and if you've got any questions, as I said before I started press and record, really can't multitask, so that's why everybody's on mute. So that if you need to ask questions, could you do it in the chat, because I am absolutely rubbish at stopping and starting things. And then at the end, when I've finished, I will take questions live, because then I won't be having to do something else. So I'm going to share screen now, and we will go straight into MeetEdgar. So let me get rid of that, and there we go. So when you log into MeetEdgar, this is what you see. And don't worry about what you're seeing now, because I'm going to start elsewhere for you. So when you first register with MeetEdgar, I think what they've got is a 30-day trial period. So you can upload as much as you want and mess about with it as much as you want for 30 days, just to see how it works for you. And I think 30 days of playing around with something really is a good length of time to get used to it and see the benefits. But I also hope that this training here, or this little insight into MeetEdgar, is useful. So when you first start with MeetEdgar, first open your account, you go to accounts. And what that is where you link your social media accounts. So you can link Facebook, Instagram, a normal LinkedIn profile, a company LinkedIn profile. They've just started using Pinterest and Twitter. But the benefit as well with Facebook, as it says, is you can add pages and groups as well. So a lot of you have joined me today from the Freelancer Growth Spurt group, and I schedule some posts to go out to there as well. But I've also got my expert membership. I don't schedule much to go there, because I prefer to be in the moment with my expert members and be able to give them my time, because, well, they're paying for it, so they deserve my time. But I do schedule a couple of posts because every week I ask them to make pledges and to share their successes. And that's the same post going out every week. So I schedule that so that I don't need to remember to do it, or if I'm poorly, it doesn't get missed or something like that, because it's important that my members do share their wins and successes and make their pledges so that they're accountable. So first of all, you link all of your accounts, and here I've linked somebody else's account, so somebody else's LinkedIn account, to show you that you can link your clients' accounts as well. So even though I've got my own LinkedIn account linked, I can also link others. So if you manage the social media for other people as well as yourself, you can link them all to your one MeetEdgar account, which is brilliant. So you don't have to keep logging in and logging out and things like that. And also, if you're managing somebody's social media and you've got their account within yours, it means that they're more likely to stay with you because they're not going to go off and do it themselves. So the first thing to do is to add your accounts, your social media accounts. The next thing you do, and this is absolutely brilliant, I love this, this was a real seller for me, is the categories section. So what I've got here, so DVA for me stands for Delegate VA, which is what my business used to be called. And I've got the expert membership, and I've got HVA, which is the Catherine Gladwyn business that used to be HVA. So what I've got are loads of different categories. This one isn't used anymore, it wasn't used, so we can get rid of that one. And what you've got is you can create any category you like. So I have all of my blogs and YouTube videos in one category, all of my testimonials to show my authority in another category, and my sales posts and newsletter in another category, and as it goes on. And these are the two that I said that I schedule to my expert membership. So there's just 2 posts. You can see when it says updates in library, it shows how many posts I've got within that category. So how many things I've scheduled to go out. And as you can see, I've only got 1 in there. 1 goes out once a week. Because I've got a sales category, because we all, well, not all of us, but many of us struggle with doing the sales posts and things like that, don't we? But if you write them and schedule them, then they go out when you're not even thinking about it. So it feels less icky. It feels less, oh my God, awkward. Nobody's going to buy anything. But if you're scheduling it, it goes out, and then all of a sudden you make a sale and you think, oh, that's all right, then it did work. So it's really good for doing the sales posts as well. So I group all of those with newsletters and my lead magnets for different things. The tips, I'm going to show you at the end what that is. That's towards the end for the content tips. You can have as many categories as you want on one of their plans. I think you're limited on one of their smaller plans. I think I've got their bigger plan so that I can just have endless categories and change them every so often. So these categories go out all the time, and I'll show you more about that in a minute. Don't worry if things aren't making sense. It will all gel together at the end. You may have seen in the Freelancer Growth Spurt recently that I've been running a competition to win 2 books. So what I did is I created a category for the competition and put the posts within that category so that they just go out. And then when that competition's over, I can just get rid of that category because I don't need those posts going out anymore. It just helps me to manage it a little bit better. So you may already be listening to this, watching this and thinking, oh my God, I could have categories for this, that and the other, and it all gets a bit exciting. So I've shown you accounts, which is the first thing you need to do. Then create your categories. And then what you can do is you can add new content. So that big button up there. And what happens then is all of the accounts that you've linked when you went here are now on the left-hand side. So you can decide where you want to post things. So you might want to post them all over the place and every account that you've got, or you might want to just put it in one group and on one page. And you can just decide. And it doesn't need to be the same platform. So I might decide to put something on Twitter and on LinkedIn, something like that. I'm going to use the drafts category so that I don't accidentally send out any nonsense. So let's see. I don't know why I've written that. www.summerholiday.co.uk. And let me do my own URL, because then it will be okay. We're all going on summer holiday. Anything you want to put out there, and then what it does, because I've put a URL in there, it's bringing through a link preview. It brings through the image associated with that page on your website. If you've not got a featured image associated with the page, it will just pick an image that you've got on your website, usually your logo or something like that. With LinkedIn, I tend to not bother doing that. So I get rid of the preview, and then it comes up with lots of other suggested images. So you can use whatever you like. So you put your content in there, you choose what platforms you want it on. You also choose which category you want it to be in, and I'm using drafts just as an example. And then you can either save to the library so that it will go out whenever you choose, and I'll show you that in a moment. So you can either save to the library. Let me write that down, because I'll go back to that in a minute. Or you can schedule to send it and save to the library. Or you can use it once and save to the library. Or you could, so I've got a client whose social media I have scheduled for her, and she's got some Christmas blogs that she wanted to go out. So what we've done is we've scheduled them to go out lots and lots, but they expire on the 24th of December. So something like that. And again, with my 2 books competition post, just to make sure they don't go out past the competition expiry date, I made sure that they expired at a certain date. When my membership reopens, I will make sure that my posts don't go out beyond when the membership closes again. So this here is a really useful thing to do. You can also ask MeetEdgar to shorten your links or not. So all that means is if you've got a really long link, so I did just go to, so I'll show you this in a minute. So I did an article for iNews yesterday, and if I was to put that link in there, it's quite a long link and it looks a bit spammy. So what you can do is you can ask MeetEdgar to shorten it so that it's nice and small when it goes. It's usually about that small when it goes out on social media. So that's really, I find that really useful as well. So we're going to save this to the library. It's going to be used once. And there we go. And that's all done. That's all gone out. Now, something else, it's as easy as that. I don't need to show you any more than that, I don't think. It's as easy as that with adding new content. But something that is absolutely amazing with MeetEdgar. So you get a blog post, you copy the URL. So I copy that. You paste the URL into add new content. And then you click suggest variations. And in a matter of seconds, MeetEdgar pulls through bits of text from your blog post and creates 4 or 5 different social media posts for you. You just need to go through. I suggest removing the quotation marks because that looks a bit odd, and just make sure that it reads okay, that it's definitely going to be something that's going to attract your audience. So the title of this blog is "When You're Too Busy Working in Your Business to Do Anything Else, Do One of These." So I'm going to have that as my first one. There we go. And then you can add the media that it's pulled through, or you could, I'll get rid of this for the LinkedIn preview, or you can bring your own media in by clicking on that and it'll open it'll open something there. So it'll open your computer files and then you can pull it through. I think I've chosen a file that's too big. It says exceeded character limit, but that's because I've chosen Twitter as one of the accounts for it to be sent to. So if I get rid of that, then I can just, it's fine. I could choose Facebook as well. So I'll choose Facebook. And then for some reason, it wants you to copy, it wants you to do something different for Facebook, but I just copy and paste it. And that goes out really well. So I think that is such a fabulous tool. That's a big thing for me, because when you've put the effort into writing a blog post, you don't want it to just go out once. You want it to keep going out there. You want that URL to keep going out there for search engine optimization purposes. So to take that hassle away of creating lots of posts just by putting the URL in somewhere, and MeetEdgar does it for you, is huge for me, I think. And it, as you saw, it takes seconds and then a couple of minutes just to have a read through to just make sure everything reads okay, and then add it to your library, save to library, and then it's just going to go out there whenever you choose. So the library, let me think what to show you first, whether it's the library or the schedule. I'm going to show you the schedule first, I think. So we've created our content, we've added lots of content, and we've put it in different categories. And now we're going to create the schedule. So we're going to decide when the categories go out. So let me choose the 2 books competition for an example. So the 2 books competition, I was sending reminders out Monday, Tuesday and Wednesday morning, Friday just before lunch, and Saturday just before lunch as well. So my sales posts for there we go, they're going out Thursday morning, Monday morning, Tuesday lunchtime. You know, I don't have to read it out, but they're going out all the time. And it's not just sales posts, it's a mixture of sign up to my newsletter, is a lead magnet for you. So with your schedule, when you go onto schedule, it will be largely empty. It will have some suggested times from MeetEdgar just to get you going, but that's all you'll see. What you then need to do is decide when you want your various categories to go out. So you'd add a time slot and you decide, okay, so I want the category of testimonials to go out on a Sunday night at 6 p.m. and I want it to go out on LinkedIn. And then you save and it will add it to it. I'm not going to add it to it because I may already have something going out at that time on that platform. If you wanted to have something going out on all accounts at the same time, then you can do that. So drafts, I want it going out at noon and I want it going out to all accounts on those days, and then you save. What you'll notice here is that when I selected all, it's only selected one of the Twitter accounts. If I untick that Twitter account, I can select that one, but I can't select the other one. And the reason for that is Twitter, I think it was about in 2018, they decided that to reduce the amount of spamming on their site, you couldn't send out duplicate posts to the same accounts and things like that. So MeetEdgar work within Twitter's guidelines, and they don't allow you to send out duplicate content to accounts. So it does mean that every so often you do have to refresh your content for Twitter, and that can just mean adding an emoji or changing some words about a little bit or something like that. But I think it's really good. It also makes sure that your content stays fresh as well on Twitter. So you can create any sort of schedule you want. And as you'll see, my schedule is quite busy, but it might surprise you that I also post organically every day as well on virtually every platform, because you don't just need to post once a day. None of us understand the algorithm. So anybody, if they ever try and talk to you about the algorithm, just push them away, go away. You can post as many times as you want. don't look at this and think that you need to be posting as much as this. Don't worry. If you want to post every other day, absolutely fine. Spend the days engaging with people as well, which is just as important. I do all of that. I engage, I've got all of this schedule going out, and I'm posting organically. That's my choice. That's what works for me. So that's your schedule, and you can have any schedule you want. And then we can have a look at your library. So do you remember when we went into and added new content, we were doing save to library? So it's all saving here. And here's one that we created. I'm going to have a drink because I've gone all croaky. Apologies. Probably got COVID. So I'm going to delete that one now because that was just buggering about, wasn't it? There we go. So this is now the library. So everything that we have or you have created and added new content, it is now in the library. And you can see, you can either look by category, see what you've got in the categories. So I've got 30 that go out in the blogs and YouTube category out of 648 pieces of content. Let's see what I've got in my sales ones. 160 pieces of content out of the 648. So you can look by category, or you can look by social channel, or you can look by account. So let me see what I've got going out for Twitter. I've got 194 different things set to go out of the 648 pieces of content. So I hope that makes sense. So let me just show you. So for the Virtual Business Mentor on Twitter, I've got 194 pieces of content that will randomly go out, and they will go out on the following times and days. So that is when things go out, those 100 and whatever they were, 194 I think, wasn't it? So they'll just go out randomly then. It just takes things randomly so that it mixes things up. And I've never noticed that it sent something out on the same thing on 2 consecutive days. So it's been absolutely brilliant with that. In fact, I've never noticed any problems with MeetEdgar at all. I've got confused on a couple of occasions with something that I was doing. So I've contacted their support, and they always get back to you in less than 24 hours. And they are so helpful, never patronizing. Because I was a bit of a dick one time with something, and they were just so patient and brilliant. It was fantastic, as customer service should be when you're investing in something. So I think that's all the categories, all the areas I wanted to show you with MeetEdgar. And then, as promised, I wanted to show you how I create evergreen content. And just to remind you, in case you weren't at the beginning of the call, evergreen content is stuff that you create that can just go out again and again and again, so that you don't have to worry about it. Things like a blog post and breaking it down like MeetEdgar does for you is a great evergreen content. So what I also do for evergreen content is I create tips. So this is something that I help my expert members with as well, because creating content can be a stumbling block for so many people, and imposter syndrome, and worrying that, oh God, I didn't get any likes on that, or nobody's seeing it, or, you know, what if people laugh, or anything like that. So if you create content and get it scheduled, you don't have to think about it. And what I'm going to show you now is a great way to create some evergreen content so that you show your expertise in the service area that you provide. So along the top, a good old Excel spreadsheet or a bit of paper, whatever you want to do, put all of the services that you offer and put them all along the top separately. Then think about some tips that you could give your audience around those services. So I offer, as part of my VA business, because I'm still a VA as well, I offer bookkeeping. So I send out tips about bookkeeping. So bookkeeping not matching what's in your bank account. It's a common problem for people. Check your opening balance matches that of your bank account. It's a common thing to get wrong, and once right, everything adds up. Now you may think, well, hang on, you're taking work away from yourself by giving them these tips. You know, it would be better if they came to me and said, it's not adding up, can you sort it out for me? I charge them, make some money. But it's not. By sharing your expertise, you show that you're the person to go to if they can't do it themselves. Whether they can't, they won't, or they shouldn't be doing it themselves. Whether you're a VA, a graphic designer, a coach, or anything like that, share your expertise by giving people tips. Now, I didn't suddenly come up with all of these in one sitting. I started with one, probably 2 days later I had a shower and thought of another one, out for a walk, thought of another one, on a car journey, supposed to not be thinking about work, thought of a few more. And what I used to do is I used to put them in the notes section of my phone if I was out and about, or email myself. I'm always emailing myself. An email comes in, I think, oh, is that from me? And then added them to my spreadsheet. And you start building up a list. And then it's as simple as copying it, adding new content in MeetEdgar, pasting it, and then deciding where it goes and what pages you want it to go to, and then save to library. I always create a spreadsheet as well, just in case, because I'm all about creating a safe, sustainable business. So I always create a spreadsheet as well as having everything in MeetEdgar, just in case something happened to MeetEdgar and I lost everything. It's just so it's somewhere else as well. So yeah, have a think about some tips that you could provide to your audience. But before you start, get into the mindset that whatever you know, not everybody knows. So you're not teaching people to suck eggs. You're showing people that you're the expert in whatever service you provide. So even if you're telling somebody something that they already know, it reaffirms to them that you're the right person to invest in because you know your stuff. So that was all I wanted to show you. What I'm going to do now is come back to the screen and see if there's any questions and allow you to unmute yourselves if needs be. Hello to a few others that joined. Just check the questions. So Janine has asked, is there let me start from the top. Sorry, Claire. Claire, is there a limit to the number of accounts you can link to? There may be, depending on MeetEdgar's plans. So it depends what plan you're on. Like I said, I'm on the highest plan. I think there are 3 plans. So there could well be. I mean, if you do social media for other people and you want to link their accounts, you could charge them more so that they help pay for your software, obviously. Janine has asked the question, so each variation is one post. Yes, so what Janine's referring to there is when I put the blog URL in and it created a new variation, each variation is one new post. Somebody's joined and their name is iPhone, so I'm not sure who. Oh, Rena, sorry, Rena. Oh, hi, Rena. Rena joined a little late. Is this being recorded and will you be able to send the recording? Yeah, it'll be recorded, Rena, and put into the group. Lindsay has shared that the MeetEdgar plan is 4 platforms. I mean, you don't need to be on every platform if it's just for you. So you can do whatever you want there. Has anybody else got any questions as well? I'm going to drop the link for MeetEdgar into the chat for you so that you can follow that one. That's my affiliate link and you'll get the 30 days, I think, free, so that you can have a mess about with that and have a look at the different plans. But if anybody's got any questions, do feel free to ask. Kate, I've got to dash. Let's have another call in a minute. Thank you so much. That was super helpful. And I definitely want to use MeetEdgar. We'll sign up later. No, thank you, Kate. Lovely to see you. I saw you briefly earlier. So thanks for joining. Janine, found it useful. Thank you, Janine. Lindsay, you're now on camera. I'm going to stop recording now so that people don't get the chit chat.